So if Ohio were to pass some sort of red flag law, it would be the 18th state to do so, and one of the first states our neighbors to the west.
Indiana's had a red flag law on the books for more than a decade. News 5's Jordan Vandenberg with us now with the law that might have prevented another tragedy from happening.
Well, Indiana's red flag law actually goes all the way back to 2005. And over there it's called the Jacob Laird Law. It was named after an Indianapolis police officer who was shot and killed by a man who just months earlier had his weapons confiscated because of mental illness. With no law on the books at the time, the police were forced to give the man the guns back. And while the legislation alone would not prevent every tragedy from happening, a recent example shows laws like these can prevent at least some of them from happening. Inside this Tudor-style home in Evansville, Indiana, not far from the Ohio River, police came across a modified mail slot and a small cache of firearms. Pistols, shotguns, rifles, hundreds of rounds of ammunition. And police believe Kenneth Haney Jr. planned on using them.
He would have had the ability to fire at the officers through the mail slot where the officers wouldn't even be able to see him.
It happened back in February, and it was one of the most recent and high-profile instances of Indiana's red flag law being used. Haney reportedly called 911 to say he had his wife tied up, and he was holding her at gunpoint. But police later verified that his wife was, in fact, safe and nowhere near the home. Evansville Police Sergeant Jason Cullum, who joined us over FaceTime, said investigators believe the 911 call was a ruse to potentially ambush police.
When he was talking to his family members, he had specifically mentioned initiating a confrontation with law enforcement with the hopes of getting media coverage that would allow him to give his political views.
Haney was eventually arrested without incident for making that bogus 911 call. At his family's request, police confiscated Haney's 10 firearms under Indiana's red flag law because Haney posed a risk of immediate danger. Police say each gun was spread across each room in the house, and they all were loaded.
This law came about, unfortunately, from a tragedy. It's designed to prevent that tragedy from repeating itself, and in this specific case, we believe that it did.
If Ohio were to model its law after Indiana's, people would still be afforded the rights of due process. In Haney's case, a court hearing was held in which the judge found clear and convincing evidence that Haney was, in fact, dangerous.
If we're saving lives and we're still protecting the rights of our citizens that we're seizing the guns from, then to us, that is a law that's beneficial to the community.
And under Indiana's law, someone may petition to have their firearms returned to them once every 180 days or 6 months, even if they have been denied before. Jordan Vandenberg, News 5.